Alright, I think where we left off was the tools that you need. I was talking about the needle nose pliers, and within these needle nose pliers there are actually wire cutters. Now I have other tools, but the main ones you're going to be using are these needle nose. You can actually get a whole set where they have the wire cutters separate, and you have the flat nose, and then you have a skinnier needle nose, and I'll show you how to use those as well so you can get the different designs. But I'm just going to do a couple basic pieces and show you how to use the crochet needle to its fullest and how to incorporate this flat piece while you're making your lock jewelry, and go from there. So first I'm going to give me a piece of wire, if I can find it. Here we go. You can actually get this kind of wire from Joann's or Michael's for $2.50 per pack. However, I use a lot, so I buy mine offline, and you can go to Etsy and a lot of these different online stores and just punch in copper 20 gauge wire, and this is full hard. I'll get into the science of wire and all that later on, but just make sure you get 20 gauge wire. Get a piece, you want a nice long piece. I'm just going to show you a basic coil. Cut that off and see with the wire cutters inside the wire cutter, like I was telling you, is a I'm sorry, I keep calling them wire cutters, needle nose. You can cut that. Now, when I make my lock jewelry, I always create a coil because I don't want this getting stuck or snagging my hair, snagging my locks, getting them all tangled up. So what you're going to do is take this, right, and you're going to turn it. Don't be afraid to manipulate it and move it all around. It's very pliable. I'm just going to close that loop. Now I'm going to take it and I'm going to just keep it close and just start working it around the loop. Just keep going, working it around the loop. Now, you don't have to do it this slow. I'm just trying to show you an example. Now I'm just going to grab a crochet needle. Now this is going to give you support, this flat piece. You're going to take this coil that you made, press it up against the flat piece, and this is going to give you support so you can turn your wire around. Now if you want a nice little small piece, you can do a few coils. If you want a nice long piece, you just keep turning it. Now once you get to the front, you want to have enough to make an end coil. Wrap that around one more time, and I'm going to do the same thing I did in the beginning, and that's create the loop. And like I said, you're just going to have to practice playing around with the wire, manipulating it, moving it. Don't be afraid to bend it around. And when you do wrap your wire, make sure you wrap it tight. And there you go. And then you just pull it off, and you have a wire cuff. Now this was a big crochet needle, and I'll just slip it on. See, I didn't have to use the needle thing, and it just slip it right on. See that? It just slipped right on. It just slip it right off. Now I don't have any beads in front of me, and I'm going to have to break out some of my beads to show you how to incorporate beads in your lock jewelry. But I will show you real quick how to do a cowrie shell, or use cowrie shells. I've seen a lot of brothers and sisters sew cowrie shells in their hair, and you don't have to do that. That's too permanent, and I've seen a lot of individuals just clip off their locks because they can't get the cowrie shell after they've decided they didn't want it in their hair anymore. Now, I'm going to also tell you the different kinds of wire that are out there and what kind is not good for making lock jewelry. The first and best kind of lock jewelry and the cheapest wire is copper wire. Genuine copper. You can wash your hair with it. It won't change. It won't rust. It won't become dull. You'll also see silver plated copper wire. I don't recommend you use that for your hair because eventually if you've seen cheap jewelry and it starts to get that pink look and that dull faded look, it's not going to last, and you don't want that in your hair. Another wire I would stay away from is gold plated copper wire because it will also start to look really ugly and rusty. Now, for a few extra dollars, you can get gold fill wire or sterling silver wire. The only two that I really use are sterling silver and copper wire because they never change in color. Now, I'm going to show you how to do a cowrie shell. This is a very small one. You're going to slip the cowrie shell, and you're going to want about this much wire at the end. Fold it up. See that? Fold it up. Now I'm going to take that wire and I'm going to, in a sense, screw it so that it's tight. Let me move because I get a light from my window. I want you to look at that, and I'm going to just take it and start twisting the wire around the cowrie shell. Maybe you can do it 2 or 3 times. See that? Now this little tip right here, now this is where your other wire cutters would come in. Since this is an attachment to the needle nose, you're really not going to be able to get a close or a clean of a cut with these type of wire cutters. This is for a simple snip, but later on I'll come back with my wire cutters and I'll show you, they'll clip it clean to the end. Oops, excuse me. I'm going to clip it as close to the end as I can with these, and then I'll with that little piece that's sticking out right there, that little pointy piece, I'm going to just squeeze it on like that. See that? And another thing, with this type of lock jewelry, you can get seed beads, which are the little teeny tiny colorful beads. You would fill this wire up with seed beads, and just like I did the wire wrapping with the coil, you would do the same thing. That's how you get your beaded lock jewelry cuffs. But I'm going to take this cowrie shell, and remember the flat piece? I'm going to hold the cowrie shell to the flat piece with my thumb for support. See, it's not going anywhere. And I'm going to start wrapping and then, like I said, I'll get into how to incorporate beads inside the lock jewelry. And you turn that as many times as you like, and then I leave that extra piece for a coil. And then, once you really get comfortable with your wire, you can start creating loops. So let me go backwards. I'm going to take a loop off, and let me just create a little loop like that. Turn it around, and that's when you start getting into your own little designs. I really wish the lighting was a little better. And I'm going to do the same thing and create the loop so that it does not get caught in your hair. Now, another wire that I left out that is really good is black wire. You just have to be very careful, and I'll show you a tip on how to turn wire without stripping the color. But black wire will blend in with your hair. So let's say you wanted to make an invisible lock cuff where you had a cowrie shell or a bead, but you didn't want the cuff to show, you use the black wire. You slip that off, and there you have